What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. There's a bit of breaking news that just dropped. Well, the trial is over. The trial that we didn't know anything about, really. The trial that, in my opinion, was a sham from the very beginning, has now delivered a verdict of guilty on 5 of 6 counts for Miss Maxwell. What's interesting, though, is exactly what happened to the records seconds after the verdict was read. They were sealed, interestingly enough. I don't think there is a person on the planet that didn't foresee this outcome, but it's really crazy to see it happen right in front of us, just like we all predicted, and nobody can do anything about it. It's the biggest cover-up of our time, in my opinion, and deliberations took 9 days after the judge ended up pressuring the jury because of the coof, as they suddenly returned with guilty verdicts and decided to immediately seal all of the records. You can see this article here. Found guilty on multiple counts at trial. British socialite Ms. Maxwell was found guilty on Wednesday of facilitating all of the bad behavior of Mr. Jeffrey. Jurors deliberated for 5 full days. Oh, I guess I forgot the weekend was in there. Before finding her guilty on 5 of the 6 counts she faced, including trafficking. The 60-year-old was found not guilty of one of the charges, but who cares? It's a case that has captured international attention and sparked countless theories. There's plenty of fodder between the two, who were a couple in the 90s and 2000s, surrounded themselves with wealthy and powerful men, including people like Bill Gates and Bill Clinton. Over the past few years, a steady stream of women have come out to claim that Miss Maxwell did terrible things. I don't think that's ever really been up for debate. Of course, we know the meme, that J.E. didn't end himself. We knew the meme, and it happened anyway. With Miss Maxwell, the question's going to be, how long? How long does she have now? The defense tried to claim that she was some sort of scapegoat. The feeling of unresolved justice is exactly what the defense capitalized on as part of the case in the trial. Her lawyers have portrayed her as a scapegoat, being tried as proxy for Jeffrey. In their opening statements, they drew a biblical comparison. Ever since Eve was accused of tempting Adam for the apple, women have been villainized, said her attorney, Bobby Sternheim, adding that Jeffrey is the proverbial elephant in the room. The defense also tried to prove that although they were a romantic couple, the two had drifted apart over the years, and by the early 2000s were living separate lives. Whatever he did in his own personal life was not her business. That's what her attorney said. Except based on a lot of the things we know, says that she was very much a part of selecting, preparing, and delivering opportunities for Mr. Jeffrey. And she was as a part of the machine, as much of a part of the machine as he was, seemingly, with some of these women's stories, which, it's just sad and frustrating as an American, knowing that now they've sealed the documents to protect everybody that was basically involved. Meaning, Maxwell's going to go and, rot away in some jail cell, well, potentially, I don't know for how long, and we're never going to know the real details of this case. There were a lot of really questionable things, like how the attorneys for the state or whatever, or the prosecutors were like 10. No real experience. It's like they were set up to fail on purpose. They were set up. It was like, we had how we ended up with Binger. Binger was not, he's the ADA. He wasn't like the big dude. The big dude knew that it was a stinker case and he didn't want to take it. So they gave it to Binger. And he did exactly what we all knew he would. You know, that case was unwinnable, in my opinion. The only value in it was to get famous, which is, you know, Binger did do. Fluffer Boy 2004 or whatever is very popular now. You know, I believe, and this is just my opinion, that, of course, this woman was a part of the machine. I don't really take any joy in her guilty verdict because I feel like so unfulfilled, so frustrated that there's very clearly a lot of other people involved here that got a pass. I mean, remember the original deal back when all of, you know, when Jeffrey should have been locked up the first time, and then suddenly, you know, some federal agent was like, everything's cool here. We're cool here. Like, what happened to all these tapes that supposedly exist? Does none of this blackmail content exist? I find that hard to believe, given the people that were filmed on these planes. That said, you know, just because someone went to that island doesn't mean that they were partaking in anything particularly evil. But we do know that Miss Maxwell was. She was facilitating it. You know, in terms of sentencing, it's going to spend the life in prison. What's left of it. And rightfully so, I think. The sad part is that they sealed the records because there's just too much that we need to know. You know, this is a big win for people like Hillary, I guess. You know, you get to put this woman away. In a lot of ways, she was a scapegoat. Yes, she was guilty of, I believe, what they found her guilty of. But she was also a scapegoat for all these other people that would have likely been brought up if Jeffrey had made it to trial, for example. And it's just a mess. It shows how corrupt our legal system is in the United States at the highest levels. And that if you have a ton of money, like real money, you're not going to face any real crimes or any real punishment. Except, I guess, Miss Maxwell will be spending the rest of her life in prison. Now, the question becomes now, start the clock, how long before there is an accident? Somebody takes a slip and fall. It's a victory, I guess. Feels empty given them that they seal the records. Are you surprised that we even made it to verdict? What do you think of all this? I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.